I'm not sure, like, many people in the Earth 2 community know that we built our own holo building system editor. So players inside of Earth, and we did this last year. So in part of our ongoing partnership with Mapbox, we used some initial technology that they had built, and our team worked together to get a very rudimentary version of that working. From there, our developers actually built a whole new level on top of that. So everything you see with the current holo building editor is actually what our developers have been working on and creating over time. And you only have to jump into our Discord and look in the holo art section. I'll try and show some here if I can figure out how to do that. But you jump in on our Discord, look in the holo art section, and you can see the amazing creations that players have come up with in there. It is just incredible. I would love to buy some of those things. So therefore, we've provided this creativity. It does actually have some utility in the game for storage space on land. So there's a few other things that are tied with having a holo building on your property inside of Earth 2. But, in order to follow this process of my belief in, players being creative and being able to sell that creativity, we'll be releasing later this year the holo building marketplace, where players can make their own holo building. Well, they can make their own holo building in the editor, and then they can sell it to other players who want to buy it. And I know I certainly don't have time or the talent to be able to create some of the amazing holo buildings that other people have been able to create with using the Earth 2 editor. And I'd love to buy some of those. So yeah, that marketplace will be open later this year. And it's just another indication of the things that we're building to support player creativity and player-to-player, the ability for players to sell things to one another, and then the ability for that to actually be used in game or have utility in game, or have something related to the in-game parts of Earth 2. So this isn't about us creating and selling things to our players for us to increase our revenue. It's not about that at all. I want to build solutions that allow the players who are part of Earth 2 to build things and be creative and sell that, and they get the vast majority of the benefit of their creation. So I have very strong beliefs in that, and you'll see that over time as we release more and more features. Another thing that we've done today is introduced a dual system inside of Earth 2, and that's another example of something that we introduced. It comes from us originally, so the players get the jewels from us. They don't have to buy them from us. They spawn, and players can collect jewels, and then from those jewels, players can craft them. We're actually up to a third tier, so players can craft tier 1 level jewels into tier 2, and then tier 2 into tier 3. And as many of you guys in the community know, I don't know a lot about the exact tiers and the benefits of all the different types of jewels, but each tier unlocks new recipes, and players can discover those recipes. And once that recipe is discovered, sometimes they share it online, sometimes they don't. And then the player can then sell their higher tier jewels that they've crafted using their own jewels and knowledge to other players on a marketplace that we've already set up and has been trading. I think it's done over $1.5 million worth of jewel trades between players. So that's players selling jewels to one another. Many of us don't have time to craft the jewels. So it is gameplay that players are learning, and they're able to execute and then sell to another player. So that's another example of my belief in, instead of us trying to capitalize and craft the jewels and sell them to players for us to increase our revenue, I'm more interested in providing ways for the players to be able to do things, be creative, do gameplay. I'm a gamer. I love gaming. that's the type of thing that I want inside of Earth 2. So, and again, like, I guess, going off from Jules, just talking about other benefits, I guess, that we're, that we've introduced, and these things were not around, I guess, earlier, like when we first launched Earth 2. None of these things, like Jules, holo buildings, none of these things were promised. But we've worked on them. We just think it's cool, and we're kind of working on those features and many more to provide to you guys. So this is another thing that I came up with and introduced, and our team have implemented, is the concept of essence on property. So obviously, to get essence, yeah, you need to own land, but in the near future, it will be more and more difficult for landowners to get their essence, which introduces the free-to-play ecosim player who can come in and help players who either don't have time to manage their properties or who have too many properties to manage. They can have contractual arrangements with ecosim players who know how to manage your property and get the most ether to essence out of your property through gameplay. And that will become more and more difficult over time. But I just wanted to talk about essence just in general, that is also something that it was not promised when we launched Earth 2, but that's something we introduced to benefit the players. And a lot of Earth 2 players will tell you, and they'll know that was introduced to benefit them. It's a key in-game utility, currency or token. It has utility right now. It'll have a lot of additional utility when things like resources launch. And once that begins trading on like a DEX or like a decentralized exchange, a DEX, or a centralized exchange or exchanges, once it starts trading there, that the price or the value of essence will be completely player determined, or determined by people on those exchanges that have nothing to do with Earth 2. So the only way to get essence is to be inside of Earth 2 and to play inside of Earth 2. So that's how you get essence, and that's how we'll get onto the exchange. And I mean, I guess it's a bit of an interesting little story there. Is when we had essence, we announced that essence was going to be a token, and confirmed that. I had opportunities, and I had quite a bit of pressure to do a pre-sale on that token. What the pre-sale would have done is allowed people who don't play on Earth to be able to purchase the token in advance before it hits the exchanges. But that, again, it didn't sit right with me, because I wanted to help make the decision that was most beneficial for the players. And that decision was to make sure that the essence that hits that initial exchange at listing, at the time we list, all of that essence has been generated through gameplay inside of Earth 2. It's been generated from players inside of Earth 2, not us just dumping a pre-sale of a token and saying, hey, if you guys have a lot of money, buy our token, because this might be what happens with our token. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure. Well, that was a little bit annoying. The camera just did this little jingle bell and turned off for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, I'm back. And what was I talking about? I was talking about the essence token and the fact, the benefit that, the benefit of us, the benefit of doing that for the players who have created essence, who have been committed to the project, they've supported it from early on, they've been logging in, hitting their land up, getting their essence. They're the guys that I wanted to benefit, not us, not somebody else who hasn't been involved in the project. It was them. So, the 115 odd million or whatever it is essence, or it might be a little bit more than that by the time we hit, depending if we do a drop, or maybe some other things might happen. But the essence that hits that will be essence that are owned or earned by players inside of Earth 2. That was very important to me. So who does it benefit? The players. That inside a lot of the things that I design, a lot of the things that I ask my team to design are based on that. Okay, who is this going to benefit? How is it going to benefit the players? That's important to me. Like another thing that we'll be releasing, for some of you who know, we made an acquisition last year of Droid the game, which is an amazing game I love, and it's got some really, really cool technology. So in the near future, we'll be releasing something that we call our Droid editor, and the Droid editor will actually be like a completely player-created content 3D digital asset that will also be able to operate in our 3D world. The 3D world, the planet-sized 1-to-1 scale replica of Earth that we'll be releasing. So this is something, so holo buildings, yes, they're completely player-created, and yes, they can kind of sit inside a filter inside of Earth 2, and they will have other purposes. But what I'm talking about here with our Droid editor is players being able to construct something from scratch, make it look like, almost like anything they want, almost. You could have like a spaceship looking thing. Hey guys, sorry about that. The camera seems to have some kind of issue, so hopefully there's not too many cutouts. But I was talking about the Droid editor and how that is also something that players can or will be able to use in the future to create these completely player-created droids that will be usable inside of Earth 2, inside of the 3D planet that we're creating. So droids are like little helpers for the players. They'll be able to do different things, and you can even have like your pet droid that follows you around and does specific things for you, searches areas, finds things for you. And instead of us coming up with droids where we just say, oh, these are all the cool designs, like your League of Legends or the other, a lot of the other games, these are really cool droids. Hey, we're going to design them and sell them all to you. What I would prefer is for the players to be able to come up with really cool designs. And trust me, there will be some amazing designs that players create. If you look at holo buildings as any kind of judgment, and there's also people from the original drone game, and I'm hoping that some of the amazing people in there with their creations are able to come over into Earth 2 and let people purchase their amazing creations in Earth 2 as well. So these are going to be usable inside the game. So it's taking that player-created content to a whole new level, which I'm really excited about. Being as somebody who had an advocate for player-created content, customizable player-created content in-game, as an advocate and somebody who believes very strongly in that, that excites me. That excites me more than a lot of other things. So, super pumped when that goes live. So we will be launching a droid editor, hopefully over the next few months, where people can actually start creating their own droids and start even selling them to one another, and those droids to be able to be used inside the 3D, the entire planet, 3D planet that of Earth that we'll be releasing later this year in 2022. So I guess, I've probably talked a little bit longer than I had expected to, but there's a lot of less player-friendly metaverses coming into the space, and they've already started commercializing, and the commercialization that they've been working on is not always super beneficial for the players, and that is something that doesn't sit well with me. So, you see some of these other metaverses, big brands coming into them. The agreement has been with the brand and the metaverse, and that's where all the, that's how they've come into that metaverse. The brand is, the metaverse itself is benefiting from the brand, not the player. And for me, the way I'd like to create Earth 2 is that it's fine if a brand wants to come into Earth 2, that's fine, that's great. But if they want a presence inside of Earth 2, they're going to have to play the game. They're going to have to pay people or liaise with ecosim players inside of Earth 2 to have a presence inside of Earth 2. That's what they're going to have to do. They're not going to come to us and say, hey, we want to do this partnership and hey, just give us that and give us this and create that for us. No, that's not how it's going to work. I want the players to benefit. So if they want to come into Earth 2, they're like every other player. They've got to be like every other player to have their presence there. And then we're all on equal footing. So we know that they've come in and they've played the game and they're doing the same things that the other players are doing to be able to get what they have, or to get that presence that they have in Earth 2. Same thing for advertising. If they want to come and advertise inside of Earth 2, they don't come to us, they go to the player. So when advertising is available in the future inside of Earth 2, you go to the player and you organize to have your advertisements put on that player's land, and that's where the negotiation is. That's where we can connect the player and the brands together, or the advertisers together. But the end relationship is between the brand or the advertiser and the player, not us. So we're providing the platform, but we're not benefiting directly from all of this. I want the players to get benefit for it's their land. They're the ones who need to benefit from it. So, I'm really kind of excited about how that will occur and how that will be implemented and delivered on Earth 2 in the future. But from what I can see happening in other places, it's only it's just getting worse. So, yeah, hopefully more people kind of, I guess, see eye to eye with what I'm thinking and feeling, and maybe things will improve. But for Earth 2, that's what I believe in, and it ties in with all the other things that I believe in, that I want to create products, I want to create things that benefit the player. That's very big, it's very important to me. So, I'm really proud about what we're building at Earth 2. I'm really proud and I'm excited about all the things that we'll be releasing throughout 2022. So please stick with us. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts here, and I'll try to do it from time to time for those of you who want to listen. And yeah, I've got a lot of other things that I can say, a lot of other interesting, probably tidbits that I could share, and I'll try to fit it in. As I said, it's a Sunday here at the moment. I don't know what time it is. It's it's still morning, but beautiful sunny day. So I'm going to try and get out and enjoy some of it with my family. So hope all of you take good care, keep safe, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thanks very much for listening.